Mm, yeah.
How do you spend your time? And that can honestly be such a loaded question. But I was having a conversation with a widow sister friend the other night. And one of the things that we were talking about was how valuable our time is. Everyone's time is valuable, but there's something about a significant deep loss that really makes you begin to reevaluate a lot of different things in your life. And one of those things that we sort of begin to take more consideration for is our time, our personal time. I think for me, the biggest realization of timing is that the wheel of time is constantly turning. Time is one of those things that is never going to stop. It is definitely a valuable commodity. When someone really significant to your life passes away, I think that one of the biggest things that we realize right off the bat is that time doesn't stop. Our worlds tend to be frozen in those moments. Everything stops for the person who has lost someone close. Everything stops. But life around you continues to go on. People around you continue to go on. And it seems like one of the biggest, most common things that I've heard within the grief community is simply just that my life stopped and everybody else's life around me kept on going. And it's a true statement. And so, one of the things that tends to happen with that is like we start to realize this value for time. We don't have time when something so significant happens so close. You start to see that, like, damn, like my time here is way more valuable than I ever thought it was. Bring up the question of how do you spend your time? Who are the people that you spend your time with? What is it that you spend your time doing? And how much time do we spend falling in line to do things for other people or things that make other people happy? And so this conversation that I had with my friend, it sort of stemmed from this place of like needing to really stand up and advocate for oneself. And just got me to thinking that like ain't nobody got time for feeling a lack of peace. Don't have time for feeling used or mistreated. There's no time for people and places and things that just don't hold value. What do you value? What are you filling your time with that is valuable? So, in this conversation, it was kind of like just an eye opening bit of an awakening that, like, our time is so precious and we don't have time to waste. Time is not going to stop ticking. Time is ultimately running out, right? Like every minute that we're alive, that we're breathing is like another minute that we are not going to have. Many of us like get up every day and go to work, our careers, our jobs, and fill our lives with, visits with friends and, time out for family. And I question, like, how often are we spending time on things that really like fill us up? And so it made me start to think about like how I want to at least fill my mornings, like the beginning part of my day. So here where I live on the West Coast in California, like we are just now beginning to experience fall. Like we just had our fall equinox, and so we are officially in the fall season. And I was writing some stuff down in a journal, and I was really starting to think about what does the fall season actually mean, like spiritually and in nature. What is fall and what is the timing of fall? And what is sort of the energy that accompanies the season of fall? And what really resonated with me is this idea of slowing down and this idea of gathering the harvest to prepare for like the dormant season, right? To prepare for the winter, which is typically more of a time of rest and hibernation. And so thinking about that, it makes me think about like, okay, so what does a fall morning routine look like? And how can I incorporate these like personal and spiritual practices like into my mornings that are going to help me to maximize my time as well as like feel really good about my day. I don't want to spend my time being stressed or being angry or being, in like a lack of peace. I feel like the more I think about this idea of time and how do we spend our time, how do I want to spend my time? Like, I want to spend my time doing things that bring me joy, doing things that I value, doing things that I love, doing things that are pleasurable, doing things that make me feel good. And that's not to say that bad times aren't going to come, that, difficult waves aren't going to show up. But even in the midst of those difficult waves, like I want to be able to prioritize my time in a way that just really brings like maximum fulfillment. So recently, I've been getting up in the morning and I have been lighting a candle. I've been playing more of like a softer, like frequency type of music just to kind of like set the tone for the day. And this is a work in progress, but this is like to replace morning scrolling. And so for my astrology girlies, I am a Gemini rising. Typically, the first thing I do when I get up in the morning is grab my phone and just start to tap into what is going on outside of me. And not that that's something that really starts my day off wrong, because really honestly, like it isn't. It's just something that I've always done. I can recognize that there isn't actually very much value for me in waking up and checking on what is going on outside of myself before even checking in with myself. So getting up, lighting that candle as just like a routine ritual and practice to really just invite like a calmness into my atmosphere and into my space. Turning on the music, which I feel like really helps to just like, again, set the tone, like bring an atmosphere of like peace and calm upon waking up. And then, of course, going through like my hygiene routine and then sitting down to read some type of filling text. And so that's been one of the things that have been a work in progress, but really trying to like adopt this routine of reading some type of text, whether that be something like the Bible or whether that be something like a daily devotional, or whether that be some type of, astrological spiritual wording or anything that really just can feel like fuel and food for the morning, I think has been working out so far. I have a book called Simple Abundance. And if you are new to my YouTube channel, if you're watching this on YouTube, I have read out of this book before, and in fact, I think during Vlogmas or one of the vlog months where you vlog every day, I was actually reading like a page a day in the morning out of the Simple Abundance book. So that's one that I really like because it's just you open it up and you read whatever the text is for the day. Doing something like that that really feels like food. And then the biggest thing that I have as a non negotiable in my life right now is taking a walk in the morning or really at any time of the day, but I really enjoy getting up and going to do that walk in the morning. And this all started back in August when I was a part of a fundraiser and sort of a collective effort called Walk for Love. And one of my friends, Tina from Widowhood Real Talk with Tina, which is a nonprofit organization, she put together this walk and fundraiser. And so every day for, I think it was like 5 days or something like that, we did these walks outside and we either took pictures or took videos of us out walking. And it was just a way to raise awareness and raise funds for the widowhood. And I hadn't really been out regularly walking in such a long time. And so I really enjoyed being outside and taking those walks. And it encouraged me to actually keep on doing it. And so in the mornings, I'll get up and I'll usually do about 2.5 miles is where I'm set at right now. And I'm trying to work my way up to 5 miles a day. So baby steps for sure, but fitting that into my morning has been a non-negotiable. It is something that I am going to get up and do regardless of anything else. I'm going to go outside and I'm going to take my walk. So I've been pretty consistent with that, which has been really good. And then coming back. And so the next sort of thing that I want to fill into this morning routine and this practice of valuing my time and being really intentional about my time is just to make sure that I'm like fueling my body with really good foods. The summer has gone. We have eaten out literally just about every single day. I feel like it's been like over a month and a half since I've made a home cooked meal. And so now that we're settling back into the fall and just getting back into more of like a slower way of life, and as the weather hopefully gets ready to change, because here in Southern California, it's usually warm during the fall as well. But as the weather begins to slowly change, I want to like come back to this place of reincorporating just living foods and really good foods and feel good foods. Not so much comfort food, like stuff that's going to, pack on weight, but feel good foods, as in the type of foods that are electric, the type of foods that are living, the type of foods that genuinely leave you feeling fueled and energetic after you eat them, as opposed to really heavy foods that leave you feeling sort of like lazy and sluggish after the fact. And that usually is something that can conclude my morning. And then from there, I'm able to sort of flow into the rest of my day. We will do our homeschooling, and then I will find little pockets of time to be sure to get other work done that I have to do for the businesses that I do and go on about the day. But being really intentional just about time and about what you do with your time and about how you navigate your time, I think is such an important topic and commodity just at a time like this, because it's really easy to just fuck off. It's really easy to get stuck in habits and loops of doing just the same old thing. And I don't like that either. I'm always trying to like break up the stagnant energy, or really just like break up such strict routines that keep me in a loop, break up stagnant routines that keep me in a loop or like a cycle, um, that doesn't feel like it's expanding or growing. So I don't know. I want to know, like, am I the only one who feels like that? How do you feel about your time and about how you spend your time? And are you filling your days with things that you enjoy, like with things that make you happy, with things that you feel are feeding you, spiritually as well as emotionally, as well as physically? Like, how is your day to day contributing to bringing, to bringing intention into how you spend your time? Every day is just, it's another day. And I used to always say, like, another day, another dollar, right? But really, every day is something to be grateful for. And I'm trying to really just begin to find the value in time. And so, even in talking about value and talking about time, um, even with today's topic being on like the value of time and, how we're spending our time, how you value your time, I want to value your time. And so that's really all that I have to share and say today. That's kind of all that's on my mind, is just thinking about this idea and this concept of time. And even though it can be said that like time is just like a construct, right? Or like time isn't real, time isn't real, right? Like everything is just in a constant state of flow. Like we created time and the clock and the hours in the day. And even with all of that, it sort of causes us to like societally fall into this construct of, the 8 to 5 or the 9 to 5, or just having these time constraints and time frames and just different things. But again, that all boils down to like how time is being valued and what you do with your time. Do you work the 9 to 5? Do you work traditional hours? Have you given up a traditional hour system for entrepreneurship? A lot of the reasons why people say they want their own business or they want to be entrepreneurs, aside from being able to sort of be in charge of how you are making and pulling in your own income, but it's the flexibility of time. It's the flexibility of not having to wake up and punch a clock, but of being able to freely utilize your time however you want to use that time. And so I'm going to not take up any more of your time, but I want to leave you with this, or I want to ask the question of, you know, what do you want to do with your time? How do you want to spend your time, your days? If nothing else mattered, right? Like if money wasn't a factor, if it wasn't for the fact that like we had to maybe fall in line or do specific things because of responsibilities, how would you spend your time? And I want you to think about that. How would I spend my time if money wasn't a factor, if responsibility wasn't a factor? How do I want to spend my time? How you spend your time is essentially how you live your life. So I am wishing the best for everybody. I hope that you will find some value and some intention in how you want to spend your time this fall season. Let me know in the comments if you're here watching this on YouTube. What is your morning routine for the fall? Or how can you incorporate a new time intentional morning routine into the season that calls for us to slow down, reap our harvest, and prepare for the winter? In the meantime, I'll see you guys next time, and it's all love.